Welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm your host tonight, Bill Hannon, and I have two co-hosts with me. I got Sherry Kachanis and Josie Way. And tonight we're going to be interviewing Sean Aceto. And we're going to be talking about what we talk about quite frequently. That's vibration, resonance, and how we can facilitate health and healing using different modalities, including crystal bowls. So, good evening, Sean.
Good evening.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I've had a little bit of experience with crystal bowls, singing bowls in various venues, in school, down at All That Matters, different people, and it's until you actually experience the resonance vibrating through your being, it's kind of hard to describe something like that. I mean, some people may pick up or identify with maybe like a low tone, like a train whistle or something, or a vibration that they've experienced through their life that they actually felt something happening in their body.
Yeah.
And something like this, though, you can just at any time pick up a bowl and facilitate a sound that has some effect on you. Could you give me a little background as to what you've experienced yourself?
Sure. Well, you know, and the beauty of sound and vibration healing is that it doesn't have to be an instrument, you know, a formal instrument like these or like a guitar or something. I have a friend who goes down to the lighthouse and sits in front of the big foghorn. And she feels like that just realigns everything in her because that's such a deep, low vibration. It just polarizes everything and brings it all kind of in line into the same frequency.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and they say that with the crystal bowls, the gongs, what it's going to do is align you energetically, align your whole chakra system and all your cells. And that alignment could be vibratory, it could be magnetic. Manly Hall talked, I believe in the 30s, about magnetic healing.
Manly Hall?
Yeah, Manly P. Hall, yeah. And you know, the idea that the energy that you can manifest in your hands is somewhat magnetic as opposed to electronic, and people get confused by that.
Sure.
Because you can't necessarily define it, you can feel it,
That's right.
You can project it, and you can put it in someone else's hand, in someone else's body, without any instrument at all.
Right.
So much like the vocal cords, they say, is the most dynamic instrument, far greater capacity than anything else. I believe that you can do that with your hands, with your intention, with your chi. We called it in martial arts because you could take it and you can project it and you can pass it around the room and you can put it in people's hands and bring into line whatever happens to be out or misaligned in somebody, just with your intention. I do this a lot with the group healing, with the group seminars that I do, where I ask everyone to put their hands out. And I don't tell them what I'm going to do, but I tell them to just be aware of their experience and see what they notice and they feel. And one of my favorite tricks is to put a little swirl out there. And it's amazing how many people feel it once they know it's okay. Like, I really did feel that. I'm not crazy to do that.
Right.
The little kids are especially great with this because they're really sensitive and they're not afraid to say, I feel like something's in my hand.
Yeah.
I had a boy in the other day and he was being a little fresh. I said, okay, put your hands like this. He goes, okay. I said, pay attention to what you feel. He goes, okay. And I made it go back and forth in his hand. And he said, I feel like something's bouncing between my hands. I said, good. Now, when you can tell me how I did that, you can be a smart aleck again. And he was like, wow. So now this kid is going to go forward and realize that there's more to life, more to energy, more to healing than, maybe what he's being told.
He's going to let that percolate in his head. He's going to let it come forth. That. Exactly. It's an experience he can put a finger on. Yeah, very interesting. That's great.
And that's something that we played with in martial arts for years, was the energy ball that you make.
Right.
And that was one of the only ways I could settle my mind, would be to play with that, to just let that expand. And play with that and feel it and then see what I could do with it. I worked in a couple of nightclubs as a bouncer, and it was always fun to there and in any crowded place to walk through the room and just put my hands up and watch how many people would just move out of the way. And they didn't know why. And sometimes they turn around and they look and say, I don't know what that is, but I needed to move. So there was really something tangible about it if we're willing to step into that and let go that, you know, this is just solid, that's all it is. It's just skin and bone, and there's not an energetic system running not only with our bodies, but everywhere. And then be able to take and facilitate that into a healing. Now the big word is Reiki. But really all that is it's channeling that that energy, that vibration, that magnetic frequency into someone else's body.
Right. Basically, yeah, in the body, in the field, whatever, and just letting it go where it's supposed to go to help facilitate a healthy
balance and harmony.
Right. Exactly. Very
Within.
interesting.
And what I have the ability to do is to feel. I don't see, you know, I get like journey envy sometimes that people can see. They have this beautiful vision and their clairvoyance. My fiance can just see it,
Well, that's
like a movie. I don't. I just understand it.
Yeah, about 60-70% of the population has that. But the thing is that the other people who may not have that may have, you know, clear audience, or maybe like you're saying, you can actually
Clear
feel
senses.
rather than see. You know, it's pick up with the heart, which is a hell of an instrument to receive
Huge.
information.
Huge. You can feel it when you go into a room, but I get the ability to not only feel what's off, but the psychic, the clairvoyance, to know what it is, how it happened, why, when it happened, what age they were. And it's like
That's great.
like you're trying to put a curtain rod, a shower rod on. You know, you got to get everything to line up. You can't just do one or two. And when you're sitting with someone and you get to play with that, and you get to say, all right, we're going to line up 7 rings in a row, 7 things that's going to hit them. All of a sudden, these magnificent things happen. Everything opens up, and there's a clear channel to release and let go of whatever it is that comes up. And be willing. For me, the hardest part, and I think that speaks for everybody, the hardest part is to trust. Is to trust that information you're getting in that person and not doubt it, not negotiate with it.
Right.
Not say, oh, you know, it couldn't be this, you know, that's too far-fetched, too crazy. The most validating things I've had are the craziest things you could ever imagine. And you get in the habit of, you know, this may sound crazy to you, but, and then you convey that, and okay, I can't doubt anymore. Can't do it.
Doubt's
Right.
a deceiver anyway.
Yeah, doubt serves no purpose whatsoever. Doubt
Exactly.
and fear, they don't. And that's what we have. I think that's what we face doing this kind of work, is the fear. Because there's that whole, I don't care what you say, how long ago it was, but the whole witch trial stigma looms over all of us. You know, what am I if I'm cast out because of what I do? It's too weird, I'm not going to be accepted.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get thrown out of the church, I'm going to get thrown out of my family. And when you can sit that aside,
That's right.
you can do amazing, amazing things.
I mean, once you feel comfortable enough with yourself and you can sit there and not shiver yet, you know, then it just doesn't matter. Now you can trust yourself and move forward.
So I talk about that in my presentations. I call it the paradox of Comicus. You know what Comicus is from History of the World?
No.
All right. It's Mel Brooks, and he goes up to the unemployment office, and she says, occupation. And he says, stand-up philosopher. And she says, oh, you're a artist. And he's like, but for me, I have to be willing to be wrong. I have to be willing to have people say you're full of it. And know that I'm probably right and not doubt it. And know that the stuff I'm going to bring to people's attention might
Right.
not be what they're ready
Right.
To hear.
to hear.
That's right.
Yeah. And be willing to play in the vagary of it, not definitively say, well, you know, God is this, and healing is this, and energy is this, and take all that rigor off of it and say, maybe. This is my feeling. This is my experience.
The Tao of being.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why I fell in love with the Tao.
Yeah.
Because it just is. And it doesn't care, and you don't need
That's
to
right.
fight over it.
Right.
You know, how many wars are fought over, you know, my version of God? All of them? I
Yeah, really, just
But
so
when you're willing
well.
to say, I don't know.
In some way or another, that's been involved in every battle.
Yeah. And I'm willing to say, I don't know. You know, I commented the other day that to try to define God is like trying to speak Braille to a plant. How do you know? Yeah, you don't know.
And the
But
plant
willing to
really
say-
doesn't care.
No,
It
because
just is.
the plant's in the Tao, it's in its Zen, it's just going to grow,
Right.
whether you like it or not. So we play in this stuff. And when you're willing to let go of all the paradigms, and that's why I don't have any formal training, because I don't want to get stuck in anyone else's box.
Interesting.
I don't want someone to tell me, well, you have to do this, and then you do this dance move, and then you say this, and I say, okay, if I'm focusing on step A, B, C, D, and E, how much intention is going to my client?
Right.
What good is it serving them? That's really only there as a reminder for me to keep my stuff together so I can focus on you.
Yeah.
But if I get rid of all the dance moves, there's more time for the intention.
Yeah. I've learned several things, and I always go back to my least learned original way of doing it, because I'm totally with the energy then,
Yeah,
rather
that's pure
than
intention.
remembering what the sequence of different things is.
Yeah, it's a box. I talk about that a lot. That information is it's kind of a bad thing because it provides a box to put stuff in, and once something is in that box, by virtue of being in that box, it can't be anything else. So you're not going to revisit it. You're going to say everything goes in this box, and I'm going to put it away.
I have found with some healings, like theta healing, there are tools within that that you can bring to any kind of healing.
Yeah, if you're willing to take them out of the box and know that you can take this tool and you can use it all the way over there and no one's going to squeal on you. You're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to be saying, I'm supposed to be doing Reiki right now. I'm supposed to be doing theta healing. I'm supposed to be doing hypnosis, when you can take everything and blend it together and organically use it as you feel intuitively guided. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. That's pure intention. What's more powerful than that?
Nothing.
Prove me wrong.
Mover of the
know?
universe. Intent.
Intention
Yeah.
is everything.
I mean,
It is-
the expo that I'm doing on Sunday, that is pure intent. There's no money behind that. I don't have any money. I'm not an event planner. I'm not someone that says I'm going to go and do this and I can get corporate sponsors here or there. It's like, okay, everyone wants to do this. We're going to take my intention and I'm going to be really clear about it. And whoever wants to join, their intention has to be clear too. And it was an amazingly successful event because of that combined intent. That's what drove all of that.
Right.
And you can't replicate that with money. You can't try to make it a big heartfelt event if you're trying to throw money at it, trying to make money at it.
Well, you do have Roland there, and he's so heartfelt that does
And he's
draw
accessible.
heartfelt people in.
And that's why he's there, because he's accessible, he's heartfelt. He's not there to show off, he's here to offer himself. And he came on board right away. He said, I love what you're doing, and went with it. And one of the most important things I've learned from him is not to debate and not to negotiate with the messages, with the signs. You know,
That's
he
right.
talks about that a lot. Like, you know, when someone dies, you say, send me a sign, send me a message. You know, and then you get it, and they say, yeah, okay, but was that really you? Are you sure? Can you show me again? And then you're on this tangent to where you're just trying to prove to yourself. You're trying to prove to yourself.
Right.
When you could skip all that, if you just said, okay, I got it. Thank you.
Right.
I can go on with that. And then to
Oh
take
yeah, of
that,
course. Expressing gratitude is just the best way to build up your confidence and your.
and to take that into my healing practice, into my group healing, into the sound healing, and say I have to go with what comes in, with where I'm guided. I can't should. I had an 88-year-old guy. You're going to love this. He gave advice to a group. He did family counseling forever and ever. And he said, "Don't should all over yourself." And I take that to heart.
Yes. You can certainly tell us about what words not to use.
Oh, I get in trouble for that too, because there's this feeling that in the spiritual community you're supposed to be a certain way. You know, you can't say swear words, you can't be this way, you can't be that, but I think authenticity will far supersede spirituality.
Well,
Absolutely.
actually, you know, I was just reading a very interesting discussion about how Christ was a cusser.
That's authentic.
I mean, he was a carpenter, he was a fisherman, and he was around people all the time that cussed. Yeah, he didn't curse or anything like that. He didn't call God to strike anybody. He just was
Spoke
the
to him.
vernacular of the time. You know, it's just interesting because that's a little bit of the authenticity that you're talking about.
You have to speak the language that the people can hear.
You do, and you can't be afraid of how you're perceived in that.
Exactly.
Because you know, if you're taking the time to do that, you're disingenuous. You know, I'm the same way with my clients that I am with my kids, that I am with the groups, and we have a lot of fun, and there's inappropriate laughter, and we giggle and have all kinds of fun. But that's real. That's me.
Right.
I don't need to dress up when I go to work. I don't need to put on pajamas or my spiritual clothes or smell a certain way. I just show up.
Right. You
And
just
I think the
are.
world is tired of that. It doesn't
Facade.
work
It's just a
anymore.
facade.
Yeah.
It really, you know, it's one of the, someone I knew would call it the flag waving. You know, it's like, oh, I'm spiritual. You know, look up here, but don't look at me because I'm disingenuous. You know, it serves as a distraction, but when you can be your authentic self and it's consistent with all venues of your life, I think that's really powerful. And a lot of people are afraid to do that.
Keeps you in the flow when you are that way.
But, you know, there are circles that I get in trouble with. They say, well, you know, you're this or you're that. And so I have a big calling. I have a big message to give, and I can't tailor it to fit everyone else's
Well,
expectations.
that's, again, you're short-circuiting yourself if you're going to
That's
try to
right.
do that. You just have to
Yeah.
be the message, you know, through the way you handle yourself, through the way you present yourself.
I often ask people, if Christ showed up today, would you recognize him? And would you not, because you have an expectation of what that's supposed to look like?
Right.
Is he going to come back to meet your expectation, or is it going to be totally different? One of my favorite things growing up, I mean, you're 75% Irish, but you grow up and you see this picture of Jesus that was really popular in the 60s. He's got blonde, flowing locks,
Yeah.
and these bright, beautiful blue eyes.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen anyone from Jerusalem,
Yeah.
from that part of the world, you're not likely to see that guy.
Right.
You know, so you get caught up in that it's, you know, my expectation.
Right.
And I'm sure that if Jesus were to walk through that door right now, first of all, it wouldn't be in his name.
Oh,
There was no man named Jesus. That was given to him afterwards.
Yeah, right.
He'd be one of us. He'd be hanging out. Hey, how you doing? You know, not this holier than thou pretense. That doesn't work. Who buys that anymore?
I don't think they were buying it back then.
There was a few. You know, there was a few buying it, but you know they were
Well,
there.
again, those were probably the people that were involved in the presence, you know, the being pious, going down in front of the temple and offering, you know, alms and things like this, and you know. But the thing is that, you know, the people that were back there who were trying to get their head clear and find out what they're here for, to how to work with others and help others, were the people that were actually going down to the river and going for a 40-day walk in the mountains and, you know, just basically trying to clear the heads and try to get into the understanding of who they are and how they could be of service.
Yeah, and it's that simple.
Right.
You research the Essenes, and that's
The Essenes, yeah, absolutely.
that's what they did. They were
Right.
wisdom keepers. They were nurturers. They're people that lived and communed together, and it
Right.
wasn't agenda-driven
Right.
as it became in future years. But the essence of it was to give of thyself.
Right.
The
right.
greatest gift was to love thy neighbor and give of thyself.
Right.
And that's sincere.
Oh, it's part of everyone's purpose to give whatever they're able to give.
Yeah.
It may be something small like the drummer boy,
Right.
you know, that's all he had at that
That's
age
right. That's
to
right.
give.
Right.
I had
Well,
someone tell me that there's no amount is insignificant. I donate for the expo. I donate the door money to 2 different organizations, and we had an entry mishap last year where tons of people came in without paying because they went through the hotel. And I felt awful presenting this to these 2 groups, and one of the gentlemen from Peace Love Studios said, "No amount is too small. No amount is insignificant."
Right. And it was your intent, though, to
Exactly.
exactly. Right.
And you
To
take
be of
that all the
service.
way into the healing and the practice of
Right.
being there for others. In my practice, I don't have a set fee.
Mhm.
Because as you know, you talk about Jesus and what he did. I have to be there for everybody.
Mhm.
I can't be there for the people that only have $150 or $300.
Right.
That would be nice, or maybe make parts of my life a
A
little,
little easier, right, right. Car
But I
payments.
have to
and-
be there and say, I'm willing to take whatever you feel it's worth, whatever you
Right.
can offer,
Right,
and,
right.
and work on a volume and know
Right.
that people are free to get what they need. It's not economically
Right,
sensitive.
right. So what I like to do now is, I mean, this is a great discussion that we've had, and everybody's gotten in on the discussion and talking about how to be of service. And what I like to do is go back towards the beginning of the show a little bit, and we were talking about resonance and vibration and stuff like this. And one of the things that we have a variety of bowls here, and the frequency of what composes these bowls, as well as what they are associated with. The frequency of one bowl may be geared towards the immune system, while the frequency of another bowl may be geared towards the mind.
Right.
So could you give me a little background just to
Sure.
give people a kind of a basic fundamental what they're looking for if they were to pursue something like this on their own?
Okay, so the idea, and it's a theory, it's not a law, it's not something we need to adhere to, is that the energy centers of our body, the chakras, have a certain resonant frequency that they need to be at for optimal performance. And our bodies may be at 1,500 hertz, and a bowl is at 200, but it's an octave of that number. Now, the heart is going to run around 178 to 180, somewhere around there is going to be an F, and that's going to be for the heart, the vibration that energy center
Right.
needs to be at.
Right.
So something like this, and some people are really sensitive, I'm not. Some people, I can play any bowl here and they say, that's the thymus. That's my third eye, that's my throat, and they just know I don't have that gift. But a lot of people, if I were to play this one, they're going to feel that within their heart. Or they're going to feel that vibration that's going to help stabilize where that needs to be. If the center is running too fast or too slow, it's going to help bring that in line with
That's
that.
right, that's right.
And it's not exact, and it doesn't have to be, remember, because it's all
Right.
intention.
Right.
It's all consciousness driven.
Well, I find that very interesting, and the words you just used is it brings into resonance, it balances. And one of the things I've learned about, such as what you're touching now, is the platinum infused bowl, is how that resonates with the thymus and the immune system. And as we get older, our thymus, because we don't stimulate it, shrinks and becomes smaller in size unless you were to do the vibrational.
Or put your intention on it.
True, true.
And
I'm just
expand it
talking
from
about,
there.
right. But another very interesting thing about platinum, I work with colloidals,
Yep.
is that platinum is used to help the mind's memory center become more acute. And
Okay.
it basically, because we don't have much platinum in our diet,
So on an elemental level.
on an elemental level, your body will absorb what it needs and then just eliminate the rest because the particles are so small on a colloidal level, like
Sure.
8/10 thousandths of a micron, that what happens is you assimilate what you need. And I find that this is just great if somebody wanted to work on an elemental level, on a physical level, and then supplement it with something like this through the resonance and through your mental intention, you could probably really facilitate.
You could, in the way that would be used, is that combining your intention. Like if you didn't know that there's platinum in this, versus when you do and you say, okay, now platinum, it resonates like this, and these are the properties of it. I'm going to be aware of that as I play that and ask to bring that into my body. You've now accelerated that whole process because you've focused your intention on doing that. And we know from quantum physics, quantum science, that that's all you need. That's all you need. You need your intention, and you need to be clear. And we know that our consciousness has an effect
Right.
on that.
Right.
So absolutely useful, super useful tool.
It's reminding me of aromatherapy, how the frequency of the different oils.
You're good. I was just going to get to that. So one of the things I've done, one of the experiments I've done, is because these are a natural diffuser, they're an amplifier. I tend to use chocolate in them instead of essential oils. But it's going to, and it works. I did that for my daughter's 4th grade elementary class, and they all wanted chocolate after. But what it's going to do is it's going to amplify whatever properties you're using in there.
Right. Wow. Potentiator.
Yeah.
It's a potentiator.
Yep. And I've done it with cotton balls. I think you almost need to make a little sticker
Why? Why would you use cotton?
because it's going to absorb it. It's not going to rattle in here.
Ah, okay.
And it's going to keep it up there and it'll be affected by the vibration. So I've done that with essential oils. One of the things we did was with the heart bowl that I have, the 18 inches, put some frankincense in it.
Wow.
And it filled up the whole room, the whole studio. But what was even wilder after that is a couple of days later, taking the bowl out of it and looking at it and saying, something's funny in there. And they had taken and diffused the oil in a spiral around the bowl. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, my.
Yeah, yeah. And there was nothing. I've never smeared anything.
No,
in there.
no,
That was
no,
all
no.
just from the oils and the vortex.
The vortex, right, the frequency, right, the frequency depositing at the resonance. Wow, that's fantastic.
So you have the ability with that. Like this one is the yagnifier, the ceremonial ash, in this particular bowl.
All right, so I have no idea what you just said.
Me neither. So the yagna, and I believe Sherry knows a little bit about this, is a ceremonial ash
Okay.
used in a yogic practice, and that is
Okay.
infused in here with this bowl.
Oh, okay,
So the properties, the characteristics, the intention you might put in there
right,
is captured in this.
okay.
So you have the ability to use multiple things at the
So it's
same
very,
time.
that has very strong spiritual energy.
Right.
Okay,
The yagna
all right,
is a
that's great.
sacred fire. It's a sacred ceremony, and the entire time that you're participating in a yagna, you're praying, you're chanting, and there's intention.
So there's strong
to take that
vibration.
ash and incorporate it in something like that really creates a sacred peace.
Okay, now before we jump on to another bowl, I'd just like to take a moment to thank the audience for following our Psychic Holistic Spotlight and coming and spending time with us and hopefully being able to get something out of this, open up their mind. And
It's a lot of fun.
Right.
There's nothing but potential in here.
now that last bowl, I'm
Yep.
curious as to this one over here.
It incorporates a little bit of sacred geometry.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about,
You know,
because,
the triangle being the only self-supporting geometrical structure.
right?
And this one is apophyllite and platinum also.
Okay,
I found that I really like the sound of it. I like
Right.
the resonance of it, the feel, and it brings in some of the elementals of the Tibetan bowls. It's got that metallic quality to it.
right.
And this one is tuned right
Oh,
for the
yeah,
sacrum.
yeah. It's almost like the brass. Right, okay.
One of the things that you have with the brass bowls that you don't have these is they're, like the samurai swords. They're
Right.
made with the prayer.
Right,
They're hammered, they're hand hammered, and they're praying while they're doing this. All that intention is being built and incorporated right into the bowl.
right.
So you don't get this on a earth level to do
Right.
that. It's kind of put in afterwards with the crystal, I think, but I could be wrong.
Right.
But it's not as, it's a little bit more ethereal than an actual hand hammered bowl.
Right. Okay.
So you
Okay.
have, you essentially, with a brass bowl, you capture the essence of the creator.
Right. Okay. Yep. Okay.
And some of you may feel that if you go by old mills, you can feel the essence of all the people that put their blood, sweat, and tears into those buildings, the years and years and years. So it's a very powerful essence that you capture. This one's going to resonate at a D, which we associate with the sacral chakra.
Right.
A D sharp would be the adrenals
Right.
and around the kidneys.
All right. So we've got about 30 seconds left, but I'm going to let you just keep this going, and we'll just bathe in the resonance here of your frequencies.
My favorite is that sound when the